what is it, Bert? What is it that you believe that prayer is necessary on getting close to God or getting an answer and all that? And why is prayer successful?
Well, I think first off, so everyone has the understanding, or make sure everybody knows, we both grew up in the same spiritual religion, and so our differences of opinion on the subject really are our interpretations, and then the new information we've gleaned since exiting that religion. And so, as it'll be interesting to have this conversation. But to answer your question about prayer, like what does the act of prayer do for me? Is that essentially the question?
Yeah, like let's just start out. The first act of acknowledging God, in a sense, is prayer. Acknowledging Him, giving Him credit, asking Him for guidance or whatever the case is.
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I feel like the act of prayer and what it's done for me throughout my life, and the reason that I continue to maintain that relationship with God, and through prayer, and even sometimes prayer out loud and prayer just in my heart and mind, is because I feel like that it is very important for our intelligences to acknowledge our gifts that we have, to have gratitude for the things that we have, for our families, for just even our temporal things here on the earth, money, trucks. Like, I thank Him for all of those things, because what it does for me is in acts of humility that acknowledges a greater power and where those gifts come from.
So I'm gonna just, my rebuttal's gonna come from a little story about, I would honestly say it's one of the last times I prayed out loud in fervency. I was on the verge of getting out of the religion.
But when you say fervency, explain to the audience what fervency means to
really
you.
Like, I mean, in my
intent
current
with faith.
Yeah, I was really focused on getting an answer, getting a result off of this prayer. I was trying to get with my current fiance wife, and it was just struggling. We weren't getting it out. Like, we were both kind of still in the religion. We just weren't focusing on trying to be honest with ourselves and with each other about what we intended. So I knelt down, did a fervent prayer. Well, I mean, it comes to light that didn't work until I just went and been honest with Tammy. Like, I didn't get an answer to that prayer until I just went and been honest with Tammy about what I wanted about the relationship I wanted.
That's where principles come into play here, because first to your own self be true.
Right.
Like, what do you want? Because I don't think that God sends us here, as it were, or we're not here just to do.
But so many people give God the credit for what we actively go and do. And my argument is, if you give someone else a credit for something that you did, how are you going to repeat that? Because once you give yourself your credit, it means that you know what you did right or what you did wrong, and you can repeat it. But you give that credit away, then how can you repeat it? Then you just get lucky again and give the credit back to God.
I don't think that thanking Him for the gifts that you have is giving Him the credit to where you can't be proud of yourself. But acknowledging His hand in that achievement will only, and I believe this, that it will only make it go even better next time. Like you will be able to achieve more the next time just by the humility and act of gratitude.
I like to say that a prayer circle is just a form of meditation.
Well, I depending on how you feel when you meditate, I know there's a difference between sitting there and trying to relax and actually seeking
No,
wisdom and
meditation
guidance.
Meditation in the form that I interpret it is focus on a subject, focus on yourself, your positives, your negatives. It's not just sitting there and relaxing and letting your body do woo-ha. No, meditation is prayer, but more focused on giving yourself the credit or acknowledging you did something wrong. Giving yourself for credit for the positives and adjusting when you did it wrong. That's what happens when I meditate and have my times alone, and most of the times it's driving, is meditating. And going back, it's when I came out to this is when we spoke in previous podcasts about I was around age 22 when I really started to intentionally every day, every night, thinking about the day's results and figuring out why they happened, what were wrong with them, etc. And what I came out with that is everything that I did, positive or negative, was a direct result of my own actions, and those actions are based on a couple of things: your mental state, the information you have, and the experience in said subject.
But if you
I never was able to tie it back to some imaginal being.
Okay, so you have never experienced anything in your life where you felt like that was a miracle, or you felt like you were being, blessed or watched over at a given time, like maybe even a near-death experience or anything. And this isn't it's really to set up more of a question that I have for you. Like, what is faith to you? Is that just a
belief that I will make the right actions to get the outcome I'm looking for?
Yeah, so it's what gets us out of bed in the morning. The idea that we can do something. You can do that. So you don't really have faith. So that's not a good example. So let me think of something else. Faith, the moving cause of all action. So faith is what made you start Tecton, the business Tecton. You had faith in yourself that you would do that. So if faith is something that helps you put into action things that you're able to accomplish or go and do that you didn't before know you could do, but faith was what made you get started, then how do you keep going when you don't know those things? You don't blame yourself if you don't know the unknowns, but you have faith. Like, you didn't know all the experiences you was going to have to go through when you started the business, but each time one of them come up, you found a way to go forward and keep going.
Well, I think I understand your question, and honestly, how did I have, or to reiterate the question, how did I have faith to honestly have the confidence?
It's more what faith is, though. The question is more, what is
my definition of faith? Yeah. It's pretty simple. It's faith is trusting. For instance, I'm going to go back to when I finally came out of the bullshitting myself when I was trying to get with Tammy. We hadn't been talking to each other about romance or being together as a couple, we were really shading around at using the business. You know, she was doing my books and all that, and I was doing all that, and we really find times to talk to each other about business or health or whatever. And finally, after I realized that God wasn't going to do it for me, I knew I needed to step forward and just have the blunt question. And at that time, my blunt question was, if I asked you to come on a trip with me, would you come? Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously the answer was yes. But how did I have the faith, and what was what helped me do that? Was as simple as trusting that the odds were in my favor. Trusting that she was in there. So faith is the trust that the odds are in our favor.
Okay, I could accept that, but it's still, the meaning of faith is just basically it caused you to take action. Like you having faith that, or you saying that the odds were in your favor, you took action and asked. So I had a similar, I was leaving the religion, and I would like to say, like, I always say this, we live life between our ears.
Yeah.
The knowledge we have in our head
Absolutely.
is how we interpret and comprehend and then act upon our faith, whether it's, whatever type of faith or anything. When I left, then I actually used prayer. I mean, I had the balls to use prayer to help.
Same here.
I said in this prayer, I says, at the time, I truly believed I was, sacrificing a life after what they called a celestial glory.
Yeah, life after.
And you can this is a whole nother subject.
Yeah,
I'm gonna finish
that's
this
gonna
point
be a
because
fun
I
one.
can see
Yeah,
that
go ahead.
you want to talk about that. I had the balls to pray to my Heavenly Father that if this would work out, that and it was His will that I would, this girl I was going to meet, and that it would work out, and I wanted a family, and I wanted to raise a family and fulfill my purpose of life, is how I seen it.
Yeah.
And here I am, 5 kids and 16, soon to be 17 years here in another couple of weeks.